Chris Sewall here, baseball card collector, investor, dealer in that order. Welcome everyone, regular rollers time. Let's do this. We're going to get started right after I mentioned that this week's list is brought to you by Greg Morris Cards. More on them coming up in just a bit. We'll start off with one sent in by Caden. It's just a nice bio on Manu Ginobili. He wrote, I recently bought this Manu Ginobili card for $30. It's a 2004 Bowman Chrome X Factor, numbered 20 out of 150, which is his jersey number. Ginobili's story is fascinating. He grew up in Argentina and got drafted by the Spurs in 1999 with the 57th pick. He chose to play in Italy instead of going to the NBA right away. He promptly won 2 Italian championships and 2 Italian MVPs, as well as EuroLeague championship. He decided to make the jump to the NBA in 2002. He did not invent the Euro step, but is credited with popularizing it in the United States, where it has become an incredibly effective move used by today's stars like James Harden and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Ginobili went on to help the Spurs win 4 championships over his career. He could have played anywhere else in the league and been a starter, but agreed to come off the bench to help the Spurs win, sacrificing his personal stats and accolades. He helped change the narrative of international players in the NBA being soft, as he would often go hard to the rim and not shy away from any defensive assignment. Since 1992, the U.S. has won every Olympic gold medal in basketball except in 2004, when Ginobili led Argentina with 29 points to a victory over the U.S. in the semifinals. Argentina went on to win the gold medal, making Ginobili one of only 2 players ever to win a EuroLeague championship, an NBA championship, and an Olympic gold medal. The way Ginobili carried himself throughout his career was very admirable, and his impact to the game led him to be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. This was sent by Thomas, who wrote, I'm expanding my PC beyond rookies to include more interesting cards of Hall of Famers. I found this Pedro Martinez and think it's an overlooked card with a great price. It's an SPX Winning Materials Pedro Martinez and Greg Maddux dual jersey. After you featured a Ripken Gwen from this set a few weeks ago, I started looking for them. Again, I think $9 is a great price for a card featuring relics of 2 slam dunk Hall of Famers. Yeah, totally agree. It's a 2001 SPX, Winning Materials dual jersey of 2 absolute, no-brainer first ballot Hall of Fame pitchers, all-time greats, no question about it. And this is from 2001. This is before, the company started getting clever with their wording about relics. These are 2 legit game-used jerseys by both of these players. Were used in an MLB game, and yeah, $9. We want to call it $13 all in. I think that's a lot of bang for your buck for $13. This was sent in by Wark, who wrote, the card I have for you today isn't one I bought myself, but I think it's kind of weird. It's this Tim McCarver cut auto. The weirdness, though, is how the cut auto is from a card, which for cut autos you usually don't see. Cut autos mostly come from signed photos or index cards, but in this case it's some weird card inception. The thing is, I would think that Topps would use this card in their archive signature series, where it's literally older Topps cards signed now, but maybe there's some other stuff going on here. So this appears to be a 1981 Fleer card that was signed by Tim McCarver, and they just cut up the card and put it here on a Topps Heritage, cut auto card. Is sort of interesting, but yeah, I think that's why they didn't use it in their archive series, because it was a Fleer brand card. But yeah, I've never seen this before either. That's sort of a unique item, and yeah, it is a 101 Topps Heritage 2014 cut auto of Tim McCarver. Interesting. This was sent in by JD, who wrote, found this card in a PWCC auction, and I thought it was too funny not to pick up. It's a 2021 Panini Mosaic of Gartner Minshu in a PSA 4. What's interesting is that the item is labeled as a PSA Pop 1 of 1 with none higher. I know Gartner Minshu isn't highly sought after, but I just thought it was funny how this card is the only card graded by PSA ever, and it got a 4. My hope is that no one else ever sends this card to PSA, and it remains the most meaningless PSA Pop 1 in the world. Yeah, that is funny. Basically a common here, but in a PSA 4, it's a Pop 1 with none higher. I can't imagine there's very many modern cards that are in a PSA 4, a Pop 1 with none higher. I would think that, I wouldn't have thought that there were any, but here's an example of one. This was sent in by Jay, and I just really like his story here. He wrote, I PC a lot of popular and valuable guys, like many people do, but it has become a little less fun to do so and more business-like, which is okay, but I just need something fun to chase that the entire hobby isn't also chasing. In 2021, I decided to start working on a PC that revolved around my birthday, May 20th. I started to research which players had the birthday of May 20th. There are not many notable players, but one that caught my eye was David Wells. David had a long career, a lot of wins, a lot of great quotes, had a couple of World Series titles, and of course, a perfect game. I scroll eBay weekly looking for rare cards of his. He isn't included in many modern sets, so I look for graded rookies from Topps Tiffany and Fleer Glossy typically. While scrolling through the Fleer Glossy listing, I came to this listing, a David Wells 1999 EX Essential Credentials out of 79. The starting bid was $30 with free shipping, and I won the auction for $30 plus tax. My mind was blown that all my mindless scrolling on eBay for David Wells cards had paid off. It's a centerpiece to my David Wells collection. Very pumped to share this with you and your viewers. Creating a PC that is unique to you is fun and can be just as thrilling as chasing the big money cards. This was sent in by Vincent, who wrote, I've been trying to collect Hall of Fame rookie cards and expected to have to pay a pretty penny for this one since it has the 2 Hall of Famers on it, but I was surprised I was able to get one for less than $10 all in. I'm aware that it's not in the best condition, but I care more about the card than the condition. Yeah, you got a great buy here. 1978 Topps, Paul Molitor and Alan Trammell rookies. This is the only baseball card ever to feature the rookie card of 2 Hall of Famers on the same card in Molitor and Trammell. $2. I mean, yeah, that's a great price. You know, even in its condition. You know, this isn't bad condition. VG to VGX condition. It's a 45-year-old card, and you know, solid. You know, mid-grade or approaching mid-grade copy, and under $10 all in. Yeah, I mean, you certainly can't go wrong there. This was sent in by Mike, who wrote, I've been following the career of PK Subban ever since he played for the Montreal Canadiens. I've talked about jambalaya cards on your list. When I saw these 2 PSA Subban jambalayas from the same seller, I decided to follow both eBay listings. It turned out that the listings did not have much interest from other buyers. This can be explained by Subban's early retirement and the drop-off of his statistics towards the end of his career. But I enjoy collecting players that were once unattainable because of popularity and hype, and now that his cards are affordable, they are finally in my price range. He was a very, very flashy player, and these are very flashy cards, so that kind of fits. These cards are both Pop 1s with none higher from PSA. Yeah, it's really cool. You know, it's kind of like the David Wells we just saw a little bit ago. Sometimes players just sort of fall off the map in the card collecting world after they retire, even though they were very, very, very relevant during their career just because, you know, they didn't reach, you know, Hall of Fame status or whatever it is. But you can get some really, really nice sort of rare stuff for not a lot of money. The David Wells was a good example, and here's another example of that. Here's the Vintage League Leaders cards with about as good a 3-player combo on it as you could possibly hope to get in Roberto Clemente, Hank Aaron, and Willie Mays from 1966 Topps. This one's a PSA 4. And if you were designing a league leader cards from the 60s, you couldn't do better than this because the only other player you would want to put on here is Mantle, and he was in the American League. So this would be about as good as it can get. This card sold for $113.61 in auction, and this was actually my card. I sold it through Greg Morris Cards, who, as I mentioned at the beginning, is sponsoring this episode. They are one of the premier sellers of sports cards on eBay, but particularly vintage cards, always providing high-quality images, an amazing selection, combined shipping, and impeccable feedback. I'm a customer of theirs both as a buyer and a seller, and they've recently been posting YouTube content, a lot of great historical videos. For example, a recent one was the story of Ted Williams switching over from Bowman to Topps in the early 1950s and how that sort of impacted the sports card world. I recommend you check out both their store and YouTube channel. I've included links to both in the description below. This one is sent by Lyle. He wrote, I recently picked up this Garrett Cooper card, auto card for $6.27. He's a 23-year-old pitcher for the White Sox. He stands 6'6" and weighs 220 pounds. He's the only player in the last 6 years to skip the minors. He consistently throws 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, and as of today, he's recovering from Tommy John surgery and will be back in 2023. In the end, I paid $6 for an autographed rookie that is an SGC 1010. It would have cost me more to buy the card, ship it, and then hope it comes back at 10. Yeah, certainly can't go wrong for the price there. And, you know, a lot of people, including myself, complain about how the overproduction of ultra-modern era has really sort of driven values down, and that's really bad for the hobby. But you could also look at it the other way and say, yeah, but if you focus on singles instead of packs, you can really buy a lot of really nice cards for not a lot of money. I mean, you got a rookie auto here of an young active pitcher, SGC 1010 combo for basically $10 all in, you know, essentially half the price of the grading fee alone. Again, if you focus on singles that you really like for your PC, you can get a lot of really nice cards for not a lot of money. This was sent in by Matthew, and I warmed up to the idea of adding oddball cards, particularly rookie year cards of Hall of Famers, to my collection. I've seen recent Regular Rollers episodes showcasing the 76 Kellogg's Dennis Eckersley and the 1986 McDonald's Jerry Rice. I'm a vintage rookie collector, and I like the idea of owning something that not everyone else has. Additionally, finding these lesser-known examples can be more difficult and sometimes lead to finding some pretty good deals. 1986 Topps Football is rookie year for Hall of Famers Jerry Rice, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, and is the first year NFL cards of Steve Young and Reggie White, who started their pro careers in the USFL. In 86, McDonald's issued NFL player cards as part of their promotion, and many of these Hall of Famers are featured in the release. I found this listing below for 1986 Philadelphia Eagles McDonald's team set, along with 2 other complete Frito-Lay's Eagle promotional sets. This appeals to, for me is that the lot contains 3 rookie year cards of Reggie White, 1 McDonald's and 2 Frito-Lays. I floated an offer to the seller and bought the lot for a total cost of about $20, and now I have 3 Reggie White rookies that a lot of collectors can't say that they own. Yeah, very cool. You know, I'm a fan of alternative rookies, as I've mentioned before on the regulars. And additionally, you also got a bunch of pre-rookies of Randall Cunningham here. His rookie is 1987 Topps, and these are before that, so that's a nice bonus as well. This was sent in by Adam. He wrote, I got back into card collecting through my nephew. At first I would just buy my nephew packs, but then I started buying him singles and was fortunate enough to buy him a lower end Tom Brady rookie and some others before the boom in 2020. That was when I started buying cards for myself again, and I started with my favorite player as a kid, Fred McGriff. Saturday morning cartoons and the McGruff crime dog commercial to help take a bite out of crime were must-see TV back in the day, and I was all about the good guys. Then when McGriff got traded to the Padres while my family was living in San Diego, that was enough to seal the deal. That was it. Fred McGriff was my favorite player. My favorite card growing up was the 86 Donruss Fred McGriff rated rookie, so I bought an 86 Donruss PSA 10 and then I bought an 86 Leaf PSA 10, and my collection was complete, or so I thought. Months later, the 86 Leaf Fred McGriff PSA 10 Dimitri Young collection came up for sale on eBay. In my eyes, this was the pinnacle of all Fred McGriff cards, a junk wax era one of one, if you will. I won the auction and later sold both the Donruss and Leaf cards that I had previously purchased to help pay for the Dimitri Young collection card. I was especially excited to hear the news that Fred was elected to the Hall of Fame over the weekend. The attached pictures are of the 86 Donruss that my mom bought me at a show when I was a kid. That's the prize of my collection. And then, of course, the 86 Leaf Fred McGriff Dimitri Young collection. If I was in this for the money, there will likely never be a better time to sell than around July 23rd when Fred is inducted into the Hall of Fame. But for me, these two cards will be part of my PC for as long as I live and something my two boys will have long after I'm gone. The Baseball Hall of Fame induction celebration takes place close to my birthday. Sounds like the perfect opportunity to take the family and go for the first time. And we'll finish on a vintage bargain. This was sent by Jesse, who wrote, saw this Casey Jones rookie in a PSA 4 in auction starting at $109. Made several best offers and seller accepted for $65. Love this awesome set and thought this was a good use of $65 for a 60-plus-year-old Hall of Famer's rookie card. Yeah, totally agree. This is a great set. You know, very, very few vintage basketball sets from the 50s and 60s. They really didn't start much until the 70s. Just not a lot of stuff out there. I believe this is Casey Jones's only card during his playing days. I think he has some coach cards during the 70s. But I mean, as a player, I believe this is his only regular issue card. He might have some oddball stuff, but this I think is his only one. Great set, rookie card, Hall of Famer, everything you kind of want in a nice vintage card. Solid mid-grade card here, a little off center, but otherwise looks really nice. PSA 4, a great way, in my opinion, to spend $65 in the hobby. But that's it for this week's regular rollers. Hope everyone enjoyed, and thank you as always for all the great submissions. I get a lot, so please don't get discouraged if I don't get to yours. Keep them coming. They're really help the channel a lot, and I just enjoy reading them in general. But eat your vegetables, and see you all again real soon. Thanks, everyone.